Welcome everyone to the second day of Education Week. My name is Christopher Banks. I'm a product education specialist here at BGL, and I'll be taking you through today's webinar, which is on From Paper to Data, Automating Documents with SmartDocs 360. So before we get started, this is going to be a recurring theme, but just a little bit of housekeeping. First, the webinar is being recorded. And as an attendee, you will receive an email with the link to that recording after the webinar. You also are on mute mode. As this is a webinar, you cannot message throughout the webinar. However, we do have a Q&A section. So if you have any questions, please feel free to send them through using that Q&A. Either myself or one of my colleagues that are here will answer them if I don't get to them. And we'll also have a dedicated time at the end of the webinar to discuss it, to go through those questions. So today is the second day of Education Week. Today's webinars are all about SmartDocs. So this session is on SmartDocs 360, external software. However, later on in the day, we'll be looking at SmartDocs in Simple Fund 360 and Simple Invest 360, and then later on it'll be looking at SmartDocs in CAS 360. Just to remember though, if you haven't signed up for webinars, and you don't even have to attend them, because again, you'll get the recording, you'll get a link to the recording afterwards. If you wish, you can sign up with the link I've posted in the chat. So on today's agenda, first we'll just talk about what SmartDocs 360 is and its benefits, how it can help you. Then we'll look at creating and syncing a contact with our accounting software. Then we'll go into uploading a document or several documents and then analyzing them and then publishing them to our external software. And then finally, we'll look at the SmartDocs email as a way to upload documents quickly. So to begin, what is SmartDocs 360? It's our AI-powered paper-to-data software. So you upload documents into SmartDocs 360. SmartDocs 360 will then analyze said document, and then you can export it through various means to your specific accounting software. When they say like paper to data, they do include you can scan documents through a photocopier. The only requirements are that generally you need it to be readable. If you send it to me and I couldn't tell whether a number was a 5, a 6, or a 2, the software's going to have no chance. And it needs to preferably be straight. We've got a question here from Deborah. This is a separate program. It is the standalone software. However, its difference is that this is included in both CAS 360 and Simple Fund 360 and Simple Invest 360, and that's what those two later webinar sessions are on. This is for if you have an external software, for example, Xero. You could use our SmartDocs software to scan those documents and then publish it to Xero. So here's the list of supported documents by SmartDocs 360. We've got we can accept bank statements, or you can analyze bank statements, invoices, property settlement statements, receipts, rental property statements, utility bills, ASIC fees, council rates, trial balances, dividend statements, and contract notes. Not all of these can be easily and nicely published into your accounting software. Some of them you'll just have to export into a specific format and download it and then upload it separately. But we'll get to that when we get into the software. So exporting it to other software. Currently, Xero is the strongest integration we have. You can connect it directly to Xero. It can sync up contacts, chart of accounts, the tax rates on the fly. And it will sync it all up. So if you add a chart of account in either SmartDocs 360 or in Xero, it'll come across straight away to the other product. QuickBooks can also be connected. However, it's still being improved on by the product team. And then finally, bank statements can be exported as specific document types. So if you don't have Xero or QuickBooks, you can also export it in a specific type that allows it to be uploaded to MYOB or Sage Handysoft. So in today's session, um, we we'll be connected up to Xero. So we'll be publishing certain documents to Xero and going through how that works. We'll also look over that whole syncing of the contacts and categories. We'll make our own little contact. Be very basic, won't be long, and we'll see how it appears straight away in Xero. But now that we've gone through all the slides, we'll jump out and into the software. So when you first log into SmartDocs 360, the first screen it's going to bring you to is the entity screen. You won't be able to see this document tab here unless you've chosen an entity. I've clearly chosen Education Week already. But first thing you'd do is you'd create a new entity. So you click New Entity in the top right, follow the steps through the wizard. The only two mandatory ones are selecting a country and then just putting in the name, business structure, industry, and what currency it's tied to. Once you do that, you create the entity. You can technically stop there. However, we do have extra steps, and I very much recommend connecting it up with accounting software. It's one of the main benefits of SmartDocs 360. It's kind of its whole thing is being able to export it to Xero. But since we already have entity here, the only thing I'm going to do quickly is I'm going to select this and copy this to the clipboard. This is SmartDocs email. That's what we'll be looking at later in this session. So I click in, it's straight away, it's bringing us to the document screen, and this, if you'd selected it for the first time, this would now be showing up on the sidebar. We have a receipt that I've already uploaded here. But for now, we're going to look at creating a contact. So on the select sidebar here, we have categories, contacts. We'll jump to contacts here. I have a few contacts, very creatively named, I know. In SmartDocs 360, you can see this Xero symbol. So you can see that it's been synced up and it's present in Xero. So we want to make a new one. We're going to click New Contact and then Supplier. So straight away at the top, because we've got that Xero connection previously established in this entity, it's got automatically toggled on sync to this contact to Xero. I'm not going to call this anything, make this anything fancy. We're just going to call it supplier B. That's technically the only required field. Of course, I would assume you'd enter all the rest, and it does offer the ability to select certain businesses, but I'm just going to leave it as supplier B. You have all the extra details you can enter. In our case, I'm just going to leave it as that. Click Create Supplier, and it's done. So we have supplier B. If you needed to sync the contacts, we can click Sync Contacts, done. And now if we jump into Xero, and I refresh the page, hopefully if it loads, yeah, we go. We can see supplier B is now automatically here. It's the same thing with categories. So categories is Xero's chart of accounts. So you can create a new category here. You select the type of chart of account it is, the name and the code. You can select the tax rate if you want. So all of mine are BAS excluded, so we're going to run into issues when half of the documents I have GST, but that's okay. It's not going to impact us actually publishing it into Xero, so that's fine. But if you do have GST, make sure you have GST enabled when you set up the connection in your company, unlike me. But you can go here, you have all your different chart of accounts. I've got a question here. How do we access it from CAS 360 or SF 360? It won't look like this. Like in Simple Fund 360, one of the ways you access SmartDocs is through the Smart Matching screen. You can upload a bank statement there. Otherwise, you just upload the supported documents through the document screen, and if SmartDocs picks up that it is one of the models, it will automatically analyze it and extract the data for you. But both in CAS 360, there'll both be a webinar on how you access SmartDocs in both Simplifund 360 and CAS 360 later today. Yeah, so you can edit any of these categories here. The only thing to note, and this is the same with contacts, the syncing works both ways. So if I created ABC rental. If we click new contact, and it's not going to work. I don't know if any of you guys have heard, but AWS, the Amazon Web Services, it's having issues. And so hopefully it shouldn't hopefully impact us this morning, but I was doing a run through last night and I couldn't publish anything to Xero. And it appears to have broken again. Wonderful. There we go, it's fixed. Awesome. Yeah, you can't, and this is here evidence of that you can't upload it, like it works both ways. You can't actually delete a chart of account or a category or a contact from SmartDocs 360. You have to go to Xero and make the change there. So you can add them here in SmartDocs 360, but if you make a spelling mistake, you're going to have to edit it. You can edit it here, but if you want to delete it and get a whole new account, you wanted whatever, you'll need to go to Xero and delete it on Xero's side. The final screen that's synced is under settings. So settings is actually secretly a little drop down. It's tax rates. And unlike the other two where you could add a tax rate and edit it, you cannot touch the tax rates in SmartDocs 360. That is all done on Xero's side. But once you add it or edit it in Xero, it'll be automatically brought across to SmartDocs 360 for you. So that's all the synced up screens that SmartDocs 360 has. So if we go back to the document screen, we've got our receipt here, but let's upload some documents first as well so that they can start processing while we look at the receipt. So I'm going to grab a bank statement, a contract note, and an invoice. So you can either click Browse Files, and that'll open up a little file browser for you to find it. I've already got this folder open off screen, so I'm just going to drag and drop. So there's our 3 PDFs. You do have other methods to uploading documents. We have the email, which we're going to look at later, or you have an app, the SmartDocs 360 app, which you can get on the App Store or Google Play, which can let you take pictures of receipts and other documents. So we can select Upload Documents. They start analyzing. So while they're analyzing, let's go in and look at one that's already been analyzed. So we've got this receipt here. It says awaiting review. So here's our receipt. We've got the receipt on the left-hand side from IKEA. We've got our lines here with all our different expenses, the description, all the data entered out. The only thing we are currently missing that's stopping us from exporting it to Xero is the date. It looks like SmartDocs hasn't picked it up, which is disappointing. But oh well. And we need to select a bank account, which I've already created before this webinar. So we can just select that synced category that we had. So now publish to Xero is available. We do have a little exclamation mark here. It's talking about that we have a new supplier. We haven't actually created IKEA Pty Limited in our contact screen. It's not there. So when we do publish this to Xero, SmartDocs 360 will automatically create that contact for you. If you needed to split the document, maybe there were 2 separate documents, you want to process them individually, you can click the Split Process button. If you want to export it and just download it in a specific format, you can click Export Documents. We'll look at this more later for the bank statement. And of course, if there's any issues with SmartDocs 360, it hasn't picked up like for example, the tax, and you need to adjust that, or you need to add a new line item, it's missed something. You can click add new line item. You can edit each individual line item as you wish, and if there's something extra that doesn't need to be there, you can click delete. It's all up to you. We're giving you that choice because, SmartDocs isn't perfect. Sometimes, like it missed the date on this receipt. It's done it every time. I'm not sure why, but it gets the payment date, but it doesn't mean it get the actual date. Oh well. But up here we can now click publish to Xero. I'm glad I mentioned that AWS, because it appears that the AWS uh, isn't letting us publish it to it, which is really, really awful and upsetting. But you would click publish, it will change from publish to Xero to open in Xero. And you would click that, it'll open a new tab with it ready to be published as a journal. There, we'll try it on everyone, see if it'll eventually work for us. But that is really disappointing that the AWS broke last night because I had issues last night trying to get this to work. I'd hoped it's fixed, but I didn't want to publish anything, and then that's on me. But then we will look again, we can go to, now that all the documents have been processed, we can go to our invoice. Same thing. It's already got all our documents set up. Well, it's already got, sorry, all the data extracted. It's picked up that there's a different supplier that we don't have, so it'll create it in Xero. Again, we click publish to Xero, and maybe it'll work this time. Hey, it worked. All right, so now you can see here that it's changed to open in Xero. It's also automatically updated the document to published for you. So we click open in Xero. And here we've got bill invoice 814. It's got all the description, all that data that it extracted for us. Because I originally set up this company as not in receiving GST, it's automatically put all my chart of accounts as BAS excluded. That's what I mentioned earlier, which is why we don't have the tax amount. It's slightly off to the total. That's okay. You will have actually set it up properly, unlike me. We have an anonymous question. This is a separate software to SimpleFund 360. Okay, so SmartDocs 360 is the separate software that's for sending documents, for example, to Xero, like we've got here. That's SmartDocs 360. SmartDocs is included. BGL SmartDocs is the name for it in both CAS 360 and SimpleFund 360. They're different areas. One of them's connected, like there's a section for distributions where it will scan it. Those will be covered later today. You'll be able to see them in the two webinars at 1 p.m. and 3:30. This is just for SmartDocs 360, which is that external software that you use to connect to Xero or QuickBooks. If you're just using it for SimpleFund 360, that is already included, and we'll go over what its uses in later today, and you'll be able to see how to access it and how to use it in SimpleFund. So we can click approve here, and it's going to post the bill. Close out. And then we can go to our bank statement. So the bank statement's a little different. It does have all the details, but you can see this import to Xero instead. So what we need to do first is we need to click export. We need to select a file type. So generally I'd recommend CSV. But if you've got something like Sage's Handysoft or MYOB, you can select a QIF file for that. But we select CSV, you can choose the format you want it. You either get it pre-coded in Xero or Xero pre-coded. Select the one you want, export. We've downloaded that CSV. Now we can click import. We're going to select our bank account. And then we can prepare the file for upload. So we can upload that bank statement CSV that we had through this screen. So that's the only difference. So once you've imported it, you would need to update this to reviewed. So that way we know that document's been reviewed. So that leads us next to, we won't touch on the contract note just yet, but that leads us next to the SmartDocs email. I brought it up. You can see this button up here. It says copy the email. You can also copy it from accessing it through when you click upload documents. You can grab it there. So what we do is we go to our email, we click compose, copy and paste in our SmartDocs email. So I'm going to upload a property settlement statement or a property settlement, statement. And I'm going to upload a document, a receipt that has multiple receipts in it included to show what happens if we have a document with there. So now that we've got it, all we have to do is click send. I will note that the SmartDocs email cannot tell between any emails you send if it has a document attached. It's only looking for the document attached. So if you start signing it up to random, or you start handing out the SmartDocs email to random websites and they start sending you advertisements, you're going to get a lot of emails coming to you saying, hey, this didn't work. SmartDocs couldn't figure out what this is, and it's just some marketing email. Amazing. So you can see now we've got BGL SmartDocs notification. It's telling us here that the documents have been forwarded to the SmartDocs engine to process, and the two different documents here. So you'll get that whenever the SmartDocs email receives the documents. If we refresh the page, we can see we now have our two extra documents that we emailed in. So we go into the property statement. We can see our amounts here. And then we can publish that to Xero. And we can open it in Xero. And then we can post this as a manual journal. And then we can look at our receipt multiple documents. So in this receipt, we have two different documents. We have a receipt from Bunnings and a receipt from BGL. So with this, it's got, for both of them, you can see up here, there's two different tabs for each different receipt. Let's say, for example, it turns out someone tells us, oh, we've actually uploaded the BGL receipt. We can come here. So we don't actually need it. We don't want to upload it and publish it to Xero. It's not necessary. Come over here and we can click this delete model. So now even though it's got that document here, of course, we could split the document into two pages and that way they would be separate. So we wouldn't run into that issue. We just have the one on each. But we have it now that we've deleted that model, the BGL Corporate Solutions one won't be uploaded. However, let's say, for example, actually it turns out we didn't mean to delete, like it hadn't actually, that receipt hadn't, BGL Corporate Solutions receipt hadn't been uploaded yet to Xero. We did need to upload it. We can click reprocess. It's going to reanalyze the document. And now we've got the model again. So we can upload both directly to Xero. I'm going to quickly upload this rental property statement. The other thing to look at is depending on whether certain people, might not need to see, or like they shouldn't be seeing certain data. We do have a privacy redact. So it's been up here on all the documents here in the top left. But if we click that on our contract note here, please load. Worked before. There we are. You can sanitize this document. Yeah, and you can check whether you are, yeah, we could get rid of the bank account number, but maybe the date isn't as important. That can stay. You can uncheck that, but you have different methods. You can black it out. You can mask it with X. Or you can give it pseudonyms. So we click generate file, done, and it's downloaded our little contract note. We open it, and you can see here it's replaced all the details with gibberish, which is amazing. The only other thing I wanted to mention is you can see this document doesn't actually have the option to export it into Xero, so you'd need to go click export and then save it as a CSV. You can't save it as a QIF or a CSV ASCII, ASCII. You'll just have to either do CSV or Excel. I can see Andre's answering it. It's a shame. That was one of the options. Gibberish is an X. You had where is it? Contract note. If we do it again, hopefully it loads faster this time. You can replace mask with X. So instead of doing pseudonym, just marks with S, it's going to replace all of that with X's instead. But I did see Andres quickly answering one about that's the support team, but I'll point it out as well. At the top, we have a live chat, and you can send a message through this live chat here. If the articles it sends back aren't helpful, it will ask you if you'd like to talk to a human. If you click that button, it will get you connected with our support team, and they can answer. And it's roughly about a minute by the time it'll take for them to get connected, but you should get a first response within a minute, and you can start talking to them. Otherwise, if you need to log a support call, you search again. You can search for help articles here on the issue you're facing. If nothing comes up and it doesn't seem to be helpful for you, click log a support call. Enter the details in here, and you can set that off, and that'll go to the support team, which generally the product team will help out with those as well. So you'll get really good support really quick. The only one I wanted to show off was quickly before we run over time, was the rental property statement. The only thing we're missing who it's from. It's from ABC Rental. The owner's payment category. I don't actually have a proper chart of account set up for property revenue, so we're just going to select other revenue and the bank account. So the only difference with a rental property statement is that you have two options here. When you publish it to Xero, you have the option for a bank's transaction or a manual journal. So depending on what you need, you select one or the other, and then you click publish. Open in Xero, and then you can click post. Done. And as of course, because we published it in Xero, it's automatically being classified. Its status has been updated to published.